Hi everyone, it's Karen here. Now there's been some questions on how to download the data into Excel, so let me walk you through that. So in the Assignments tab, under Assignments 2, I'm going to click on the big list. Now the one that we want to look at is All Games in Chronological Order. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to download the whole data set, just because that's pretty big. So for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to grab a selection of it. And so all I'm doing with this is I clicked up in the top left-hand corner, held down the left mouse button, and then just dragged it. Now when you're downloading the whole list, obviously you're going to continue dragging all the way down to the bottom. But as I said, for the purposes of this, I'm just going to take a selection. I'm then going to Control-C, which copies it, and I'm going to Control-V, which will paste it. Now, I'm just going to get rid of that because I don't need it, and I'm going to increase the size of this. Now, you'll see, as most of you probably experienced, that all the data is contained within the first column. Now that's not ideal for us. What we want to do is be able to have the ones in the A column, the date in the B column, etc, etc, etc. So what you need to do with that is you go to the tab called Data and you do Text to Columns. Now with text to columns, this is going to enable us to specify how it's going to be split out. If we click on the delimited, and what we're going to be doing with that, if we go next, is we want wherever there is a space to put it into a new column. So you can see here there is a bit of a data preview, so you can see it starts to split it quite nicely. Now there are a couple of things to note with this. Things like St Kilda here is going to come across into two cells. That's not ideal. The reason being is that over here there is a space between the St and the Kilda. We're going to have the same problem with East Melbourne and Lake Oval and things like that. So there's going to be a couple of things that we need to do before we actually do text to data. Text to columns. So I'm going to cancel out of that, and then essentially I'm going to highlight all the data. Actually, you only need to do the first column, and do Alt-E-F, and that brings up this little box here, and I'm going to replace. So I'm going to type in St Kilda, and then I'm going to replace it with St dot Kilda. So that's essentially going to get rid of that space, which means that it's going to put it all together in one column. So I'm going to do replace all. A couple of other things. We've got Brunswick Street. So street I'm going to replace with the same thing, but in that where that space is, I'm just going to put a dot and replace all. East Melbourne is going to be something. Replace all on that. And you would essentially go through and do that with anything where you see that there's a space. I'll just do one more. We'll do Victoria Park. And then I'll show you the difference. Okay, so then when we have that highlighted, we go text to columns. We're going to have delimited. It's separated by the space. We go next. We can essentially just go finish. And now you'll see that we have things in nice columns. Now you'll see that there's a couple here that have skewed over, and that's because we didn't do Lake Oval, we didn't do Cairo Oval. And again, if we went back into that previous step and just put between the lake and the oval a full stop, then that would then make sure that that's all condensed. And that's essentially all you need to do in order to take something from all being in one big, all the data in one cell or in one column, and then being able to separate it out. Hopefully that was clear and easy. Have a bit of a play around and see how you go. Thanks everyone.